Alright, let's get this one underway. Starting the stream off here with a cast of a Jiggy game as promised from last time. So here we go. The bottom left hand corner of the map, it is the red Terran, Jiggy. His opponent in the top right, the blue Zerg, Kenny. Just give me 1 second here. This just proves that casters can do whatever the hell they want during the first 2 minutes of the game. Get up, lock the door, get a drink. Alright. At any rate, we've got a hatch first for our Zerg player. No gas taken just yet. There it is. Should see a spawning pool. And for Jiggy, looks like a normal Reaper expansion. Could be a 2-1-1. We'll find out soon enough. I personally like to Reaper Scout, SCB Scout in my TVZs to let me know if they're going pool first. It looks like Jiggy is going to forego that. He will expand on the low ground, and he's just going to rely on his Reaper to protect him if in fact pool first is in play. Doesn't have to worry about that here though. Got a standard hatch gas pool opening. The Reaper probably will stay at home for a little while before making his way across the map. Now, second gas here, this is interesting. Not sure what is in store. Second gas, second depot, no factory just yet. Reaper is going to head across the map. And here's the factory. So this Marine coming out before a reactor will be able to ward off any overlords that want to poke in, which is exactly what Kenny wants to do. The Reaper looks like he wants to head over to the natural. Should probably verify if there's a third base in play as well. Seems like all Zergs are taking their third base around that 220 or so mark nowadays. One Ling goes down. If Jiggy focuses it, he can't get the second. There it is. Nice focus fire. And actually a second Marine instead of an add-on. Interesting. I actually kind of like that. Looks like Jiggy really wants to get an Overlord snipe. No Overlord here. Gotta figure it's over here, but does he want to lose that much production time on his barracks? Looks like the answer is no, and I don't blame him. Ling speed about 3/4 of the way done, so Jiggy will have to be careful with that Reaper. Always helps to keep it alive. Reactor on both the factory and on the barracks, and a starport being added. So not sure what we'll see here. I'm guessing it could be Hellion Banshee. Normally you would put the tech lab on the barracks, but it could be Hellion Banshee with just extra Marines added in, and the tech lab going straight here. I mean, for that matter, we could just see a medevac or a Viking. A lot of options here. And it looks like that's exactly what's going on here. Hellion, most likely a Banshee with the tech lab. Hype about the replay. What's up? Jiggy's in the chat. Yes, it's going to be Hellion Banshee with Marine production off of that reactored barracks, which is pretty nice. Nice scout here by Kenny, I will say that. Really, really nice scout. Found a way in. Take a look at the worker count. 36 to 31, but a round of 11 drones is going to change that. Spore crawlers going down at each base to protect from the Banshee. And I would imagine that Jiggy probably is going to go into a third base soon. I mean, he can also add extra barracks. Oh, never mind. He's going to go with the armory here. So this is going to be a pretty dedicated push. He's going to continue with Hellion production. And I would guess he would go up to at least 6, if not 8 or more. And he'll grab a third base behind it. With this particular build, probably not going to see additional racks just yet. You're going to dump all of your minerals into those Hellions and the Marines. This is going to be a very powerful push. especially if Kenny doesn't realize how dedicated it is. This armory here makes a really, really big difference. There's a huge difference in power between a standard like 4 Hellion, 1 Banshee creep clearing squad and what we see here. I actually like this build a lot. Baneling Nest is only about a quarter of the way done, so Banelings will not be available for this push. It's going to be Queen Ling against Hellbats and a Banshee. So there's no question about it. Jiggy is going to get some serious damage done here. At least taking out queens, I'm going to say. He's going to take out all the queens, probably all of the lings. The only question for me is whether or not he'll actually kill this third base. A round of 24 drones, Lair and Double Evolution Chamber are not going to help with this hold. So the queens are going down. As I said, I do think that Kenny made the right call in just abandoning this base right away. He has Banelings morphing in now. That will eventually push this away, provided he doesn't do something crazy and lose his Banelings to Banshee. That's not going to happen. Decent splits, but there are so many Banelings there. They're able to clean up the ground squad, and picking up this queen is also really nice too. So it looks like we only have 2 queens now. 2 bases, but 2 queens, and that pretty much just resets things like the creep spread. Not to mention, it's an additional mineral cost once this third base gets up. Hey, Atira. Great to see you. Yeah, I promised to start this this stream off with the cast of Jiggy's game. I'm gonna get a few ladder games in afterward. I've been playing a bit off stream the past couple of days, playing like garbage on EU, but I'm winning my games on NA, so I don't know. Anyway. Banshee is going to back off after having done considerable work. 3 barracks prior to... I wonder if this would be better. Like, if I were to play it, I'll tell you straight up, I would get the third base before these additional barracks. With that being said, the advantage of getting these extra 2 barracks prior to the third base is that stim and combat shields aren't going to be super late. So, not saying it's incorrect by any means. Just I would prefer to get my economy established first, macro up, and then push out like once combat shields and stim finish, and probably with 1-1. Heck, probably even want to have 2-2 at that point. Yeah, you probably would. But yeah, anyway, just a stylistic preference of mine. But Jiggy will benefit from the added bio, as we can see here. He's going to be able to push with no stim or combat shields just yet, but he does have 1-1. He does have to be careful though. Depends on how many Banelings. Actually, I take that back. If there were Banelings, it would be pretty dangerous. But the fact of the matter is there are no Banelings for Kenny. Widow Mine doesn't get the best shot off, only 2 kills. But without Banelings here, it's tough. With Hydras, however, totally different story. Jiggy is going to have to back off. Looks like the Banshee will go down. The really nice thing about this game right now for Jiggy is the fact that his upgrades are considerably ahead. Usually Zerg is on equal upgrades or even ahead until 2-2 is complete for both players, at which point Terran will then get 3-3 first in almost all games. So the upgrade advantage is nice. Worker count is a bit low. He's going to have to rectify that. So no SCVs in production. That is going to slow him down a little bit. His third base is on location. He's only on 47 SCVs, so that's like slightly more than a full 2 base saturation. Combat shields and stim are finished. 2-2 also about to complete. And the creep spread isn't really that far, just sort of eking out now toward the halfway mark. And that's only on one side too. So if Jiggy is able to execute a push on the left side, for example, lots of spines there, but it's not going to be seen until quite late. Now, with that being said, this is a pretty massive swell of Lingbane Hydra. I'm not sure what the tank count is right now. Actually, only one tank. So this could be a precarious position for Jiggy should Kenny decide to come in here and attack. I believe there will be a second tank out by the time it hits. There's the second tank right here. +3 attack has started for Jiggy, so his upgrades are going to be in good position. Widow Mine is worthless, no surprise there. Nice idea behind the attack, but I don't know if it can work through the choke point. Good job by Jiggy pulling the Marines back behind the tank and does push us away. Really good positioning, so the Zerg army filtered in through here and through here, and that's how Jiggy was able to stand tall. More Hydras joining up, but there are a lot of medevacs here. You cannot fight. If the medevacs weren't there, the Hydras probably would have taken that, even at the upgrade disadvantage, but with the medevacs, there's no question whatsoever. So both players back off, reset. 5th base is just now finishing up for Kenny. He's at 72 drones. Looks like he just made a structure, but yeah, 72 drones. Pretty good spot there. For some Zerg players, that would be enough. Other Zerg players will go up into the 80s. So we'll see how Kenny wants to play it. And for Jiggy, he is now morphing his planetary fortress in. And it looks like he's going to have to hold another Lingbane Hydra attack. It's going to be 2-2 against 2-2. The Hydras, of course, are at that standard upgrade disadvantage. Jiggy, again, is going to try to run back. He positioned his Marines really well. I just don't know if there's enough bio here to hold. In fact, I do know. The answer is no. There's not enough bio here to hold, and the planetary fortress is going to be killed right before it finishes. The only good news for Jiggy, and it's not very good at that, is the fact that he escaped with his medevacs. There are 2 tanks here. If the medevacs are able to come back and join back up with his army, he will have a chance to hold off this attack, but it is going to be difficult. +3 attack is a little ways off. No +3 armor started just yet. I'm guessing Jiggy will probably want to remake his 4th base prior to getting that +3 armor. +3 attack is the most important upgrade anyway. Huge swath of Lings coming across the map. Oh, and it looks like Kenny's going to back off. I'm not sure. Okay, he's wanted to regroup with his Lings. He is going to try to push in now. Tank gets off a couple of volleys. I'm not sure why Kenny is being so indecisive with his Hydras, which should not be up front, by the way. He needs to get the melee units out front. That's what he's doing now. After pulling back a couple of times, he has a semi-surround, a small group of Lings. 1 tank goes down. If the Hydras focus this orbital, it will go down as well. There are, however, a lot of tanks. Orbital command does go down, but these additional tanks are just enough to hold for Jiggy. It was a really close engagement. Worth mentioning is the fact that Adrenal Glands and 3-3 for the melee units are on the way for Kenny. And he does have a 6th base up. He's mining from his 5th over here. Is he oversaturated somewhere? Just slightly there. So saturation is actually pretty good. His creep spread, though, has really been lackluster. If he was spreading creep this whole time, I think Jiggy would be in a very bad spot. Not saying he's in a good spot right now, because I don't think that he is. He's at a disadvantage in almost every way. Once 3-3 hits, he will basically be at a disadvantage in every way. Ultralisks are the choice. Not too confident in that choice. It's not that they'll be bad. They'll definitely be good, but I think in most scenarios, Broodlords are better. This map does have a fair amount of choke points, some of which are kind of large. For example, this is technically a choke, but it's pretty large. Same with here. The only small choke points really are coming through here. That's pretty much it. Yeah, anywhere where the rocks are. But yeah, so it's not that Ultras will be bad here, but as I said, I think going straight to Broods would be the better choice. Lings do get past, and it looks like they're going to be able to take out 1 tank. Every tank pickoff is important because that's going to make the Hydralisks even more valuable. Not to mention the fact that tanks are, they're not bad against Ultras. They're not very good, but they're not bad against Ultras if they can be behind some structures or behind army like this. Now, the reason why I was also calling for Kenny to go straight up to Broodlords is when you know you've taken out the 4th base here, you've taken out the 3rd base here, and you've got this base covered, you know for a fact that Terran does not have a good economy, you are not going to have to deal with a frontal assault anytime soon. Just harassing attacks like this, which are effective, by the way. But so with all of that in mind, you should feel safe to go straight up to blue hills. Anyway, we do have the base actually being taken out by this double drop. That's a really, really nice pickoff for Jiggy, and he also is able to pull the Zerg units into a choke point again. Jiggy's positioning in this game has just been far superior to his opponents, and that's really been what has kept him in the game to this point. Jiggy gets his double drop off into the main, kills 2 queens. Again, a really nice pickoff, only 3 queens here. That's part of the reason why the creep spread is so lackluster. Huge gas bank, actually. It's pretty surprising to see, but a huge gas bank for the Zerg player. Another base taken out by the same double drop, which has now taken out 2 bases and 2 queens in the main. Jiggy is just being as annoying as possible. These guerrilla tactics are really his only chance to get back in the game, and I think he has managed to do it. I think he has managed to claw his way back to being pretty much even. I don't think he has his +3 armor, but again, that's not the biggest deal. +3 attack is the more important upgrade. His 4th base is complete. He hasn't yet floated it over to the location. He only has 41 SCVs. Now, with 3 orbitals, yeah, you've got your mules, but still probably a bit lower than he would like. And yep, there we go. We see SCVs being made 4 at a time now. Would like to see him go up to around 60. And from there on out, he can just make army. Single drop comes in to the 5th base of Kenny, going to get some drone kills. This is a really nice pickoff again for Jiggy, and he's simultaneously bringing the double drop over here to the potential 6th, killing drones just for free, like it's going out of style here. Kenny is now, he's almost dipping below 60 workers, which is not where he wants to be, that's for sure. The base is killed by a single drop. That is a very painful loss to take for the Zerg, and especially when the medevac and the units get away in both cases. So Jiggy has just fought tooth and nail from a position where he was undeniably behind and pretty much on the verge of losing outright, and his drop play has single-handedly brought him back into the game. I mean, if he does that again, if he denies a base again, he could arguably be in the lead. Looks like, oh, the Hydras weren't fully upgraded that whole time. That is a bit painful for Kenny. At any rate, he's going to press in here and then think better of it immediately. And this goes back to what I was talking about before, with Jiggy's positioning being superior to Kenny's throughout this game. He has consistently been able to fight behind walls and against melee units in choke points. That is never how you want to fight with a melee army. Your melee units need space, they need surface area. Building armor and +3 armor, both on the way for Jiggy, who is heading into that late game phase. He still hasn't really mined from a 4th base location. Looks like he wants to poke out and draw the Zerg army into the same choke point again, and thus far it is actually working. Some free damage onto these Ultralisks, which is a really, really big deal. Jiggy is just outmaneuvering his opponent here consistently. We take a look at the resources lost tab. That is reflected quite clearly. Bad news for Jiggy is that he's completely mined out of his main. He is just about completely mined out of his natural, and he is about halfway mined out at his 3rd. So even once he starts mining from here, he's going to need to mine from a 5th base location almost immediately thereafter. Good news, however, is that he is about to hit max, after which he'll be able to start banking up. He has really good sensor tower coverage. Should see all attacks incoming. He's going to split off half of his army. Oh, no! To deal with the Lings, but he loses 2 medevacs over here to the Hydras. Even with that being said, those 2 medevacs killed about 3 bases, a couple of queens, and probably some other units as well. It's about time they got taken out, I've got to say. But I hear Spire Tech is pretty good for stopping things like that. Planetary Fortress has completed. And it looks like Jiggy is going to come over here and defend this vital fourth base. I'm guessing Kenny probably wants to send these wings in at the same time. Now this base might be focused down, but the question is, what will Kenny lose for it? The Hydras are, in fact, focusing the planetary, but he doesn't even finish the job, and that was probably the worst decision possible. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but you have to make a decision to either take out the base or fight the army, but you have to commit to one or the other. Jiggy did a fantastic job getting his tanks into position behind this terrain blocker, so they got off tons of volleys for free. 28 kills, 29, and count 27 on this one. So these tanks are putting in serious work. But if you're going to commit that heavily to the attack and get the planetary fortress in the red, you absolutely have to finish the job. Either that, or you never attack the planetary and you fight the army the whole time. Now, even if that was the case, Jiggy's positioning was really good with the tanks here, and I'm not sure Kenny would have been able to defeat that army. But so my point is, if he's going to go after the planetary and try to play the starvation game, then you've got to take that planetary fortress out. You've got to focus it down. So nearly a 10,000 resource discrepancy in the resources lost tab. This game is just trending more and more in Jiggy's favor. Now this is the problem that I mentioned before. He is now virtually mined out of his third base, so he's essentially mining on one base right now. Once he lands this, that will provide some much needed income. At the same time, it looks like Kenny wants to go for the more difficult location to attack. He is going to take out most of the army. Jiggy does pull back to the safety of his planetary and the tanks, and it looks like Kenny is actually going to give him at least another Ultralisk here. It's just really, really clear to me that Jiggy is the superior player in terms of the army control and the unit positioning. It's almost every single fight Jiggy has pulled Kenny into a far inferior position. And Kenny is just bleeding units. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Now we're up to about 11,000. I'm sorry, yeah, about 11,000 resource discrepancy. Lings are going to swing by and try to attack into the fourth, or I guess technically it's the fifth base of Jiggy, but he's got that well covered. Just heard a load up. I'm not sure where it was. Where is that medevac? Anyway, so Jiggy is sitting back defending. He probably wants to get out on the map pretty soon. Not sure where the scan is going down. There it is. Sees that this base has been retaken. That should cue him to go off and attack it. There we go. Double drop, heads over to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Kenny does have units in position to defend this. Should be able to defend that without much of a problem. Lings are quickly repelled by this wall here. Epic wall. Makes me proud. And the double drop, as predicted, is pushed away. One medevac goes down. Looks like only one medevac. Still no Spire Tech, by the way. More Ultralisks. I really think that Spire transition was necessary a long time ago, especially with this gas bank. The worker count is not very high. And interestingly enough, Kenny is actually kind of getting starved out on minerals. That's not usually the case with Zerg. It's usually gas that they lack if it's a battle of attrition. At any rate, the Vipers kind of run away and leave the rest of the army abandoned. Nice blinding clouds do go down on 3 of the tanks, and that is critical splash damage for Jiggy. But once again, Kenny makes the exact same mistake. This is it's really killing him. Jiggy with the solid positioning on his tanks, and Kenny is just extremely indecisive. He gets the planetary down, it was almost in the red, and he backs off. So he's in a battle of attrition, but he's playing as though it's a full econ game where he doesn't want to commit his army fully. He just has to go for that kill. Even then, he's still losing a lot of units for it. But as it is now, he's coming out in the worst possible scenario where he's losing a big chunk of his army due to Jiggy's positioning with his tanks here, and he's not denying the economy of his opponent. Worst case scenario. Jiggy, please don't let this burn down. There we go. Thank you. I'm saying that as someone who has absolutely let my orbital commands burn down before. You just don't realize that that they're on fire. Yeah, it happens. So double drop just chilling again up here in the top center, probably waiting to pick this base off. And it looks like, so finally Kenny is making what I believe is the better decision, and that's to attack an equally vital base, arguably more so since it's fresher, that is not a planetary fortress. Everybody look at the rocks. Yep, there they are, and we're off. Base is about to be denied. And once again, Jiggy just picks up and heads out. The whole army is apparently F2'd back to deal with this. I kind of feel like a jerk for backseat gaming so much, but you just have to wonder why Kenny has not gone for Spire Tech yet at this point. He's been on Hive for 10 minutes or so, and he's been getting eaten alive by Jiggy's drops. Like, you've got to get some Corruptors out at that point. Reminds me of those pro games when the pros just refuse to make a turret or a cannon or, a spore crawler, whatever the case may be. And the reasoning, the pro level reasoning is, well, that's it's 100 mineral cost when I should be able to defend it with my army. It's like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, if you're losing like 25 workers to a single Banshee or to a single Oracle, like, you probably should have made like at least one static defense. In this case, like, get a Spire, bro. Make a couple of Corruptors, put them on patrol around here, and like, trust me, it will help you out. Anyway, actually have the much feared double planetary fortress with turrets, and I actually like this a lot because this is how you slow down the Zerg from advancing, and you do this. You get out ghosts, you start poking your bio army out like this, and or poking the ghosts out. You look for snipes. You look to turtle up just like Jiggy is doing here, and then you start spreading nukes around the map. So this is Terran's best bet in the late game now, especially after the Raven nerf. Looks like we'll probably get another planetary fortress here. Now, with this being said, Jiggy will have to get another base here, and he'll need to take this base as well. Even though he is really far ahead in the resources lost, he's going to have to take at least one more base this game, preferably two. So the question is, will we see nukes? I'm sorry. Did not mean to hit that tab. Will we see nukes? Where is that go? There we go. Yes, we will see nukes. We absolutely will see nukes. This is what I'm talking about right here. So once again, Jiggy is going to be able to fight his opponent in the choke point. Just perfect positioning from Jiggy. Good abduct from Kenny. I don't think it's going to be enough. There's a huge honking here for the bio, and this is exactly what I was talking about. You get the ghosts behind these walls. The structures slow down the advancement of the Zerg army, and you fight them in choke points. So picture perfect here, execution from Jiggy, and bad news for Kenny is nukes are next. Jiggy is still nearly maxed out, and Kenny is struggling to hit 100 supply now. This is actually insane. He's been out-traded by almost 20,000 resources in a game where he was on, I believe, 4 bases to 2, and was on the verge of winning. He was super close to just putting Jiggy away, and Jiggy fought back with drops on both sides of the map and somehow managed to hold on in clutch engagement after clutch engagement here at his 3rd and then later at his 4th. Hey, what's up? Take some notes. How you doing, man? I'll read the rest of the chat after this cast, guys. Just giving Jiggy the full benefit of my attention. He spent good currency on this replay cast, so I'm gonna do my best for him. First nuke goes down. Please land, baby. Please land. Oh yeah, he's gonna get this Hydra too and maybe damage. Yes. Yes. I love it. Totally unbiased casting here. I'm not rooting for the Terran or anything, I swear. More nukes are going down. We got one over here. One over here. Which one is going to hit first? Let's try to get both. Boom, and yes! Oh my goodness, this is my favorite thing in the game to watch. Watching nukes land, especially on worker lines, is like the most satisfying thing in the game. I think the only thing that's more satisfying is that super rare scenario when you can actually land the nuke on the full army. I've only done it a couple of times in my life, but watching a full mineral line get wiped out is just fantastic. Another nuke? 2 drones are going to try to fight it off. I don't think they're going to be able to do so in time against a plus 3 armor bio unit. Some more kills added to this ghost's count, and Jiggy is going to send up another nuke on the left-hand side. I don't know how many overseers does Kenny have? Now, if he has 1 overseer, which is hanging out at his natural, that is not how you do it. Not at all. And Jiggy is just relentlessly pounding Kenny into submission. Lands on hatchery. No drones were there. My guess is we're probably going to see Kenny tap out pretty soon. It looks like he is just lost in these deep waters, and Jiggy is running him ragged. Has another base about to be taken. And if we take a look again here, yeah, almost 20,000 resources lost. Discrepancy. Pretty hard to win a game. No matter what race you play, no matter how the game went, if you were out-traded by 20,000 resources, it's nearly impossible to win. So Jiggy has just been getting edge after edge after edge after starting out the game considerably behind. He had a great push, which got him ahead. Kenny fought back, counterattacked, got way ahead, and then Jiggy just slowly out-traded him for the rest of the game to this point. This ghost now up to 19 kills. A couple of his bros heading out to join in the fun. I was about to make another analogy, but it wouldn't have been family friendly, so I will resist the urge. Anyway, just say these boys are tag teaming Kenny. Just put it that way. Absolutely destroying what remains of Kenny's economy. With that being said, he actually has a bank. I think his problem is he is just, as I said before, just being run ragged all around the map. This nuke will be denied. But I mean, honestly, it just seems like Kenny doesn't know what to do in this situation. And to be fair to him, it's not too easy. When you have multiple nukes coming at you, it's one of the most stressful scenarios in the game. These drones are actually going to go through sensor tower range. If Jiggy would see that, that would actually be hilarious. Looks like he just misses it. I mean, because that would be a huge pickoff in a game where the Zerg is on 47 workers at 33 minutes in. If you're able to pick off however many drones this is, I'm not going to count. We'll say 10 or so. That would be a really big deal. Now, Jiggy, for his part, is actually going to free up some supply, and I do like this, because with his mules, he doesn't need these workers nearly as much as Kenny needs his. Another nuke is about to go down, and Kenny's army is now posturing for an attack. It looks like he totally misses. Totally misses this nuke. That's basically the nail in the coffin. Again, he still has a bank, so he's not going to tap out yet, but at the same time, that pretty much guarantees that he is not going to be able to get his economy up again. He really can't afford to be making drones now when he needs to start taking out Jiggy's army, and he needs to do so repeatedly because Jiggy has a bank. Jiggy is maxed right now. He has a bank, and he has great defensive positions set up. Jiggy is now finally taking this base. I don't think this base was mined from too heavily. Now, this is Jiggy's base, technically speaking, or I should say it should be Jiggy's base. The only thing, really, that Kenny has going for him is that he has mined this base out, and he has mined a bit from this base. However, with that being said, that is not worth 27,000 resources. So, Jiggy is just severely out-trading Kenny in this one. And losing larva like that isn't going to help anything. This is actually kind of sad to watch, I'm not going to lie. He's getting a neural parasite now. I don't know what he hopes to do with that. Is he going to neural ghosts? I really don't know. But it's actually kind of sad to watch Kenny running around the map with his entire army trying to deal with these ghosts, launching nuke after nuke after nuke. I mean, he's just very clearly lost in this scenario. And Jiggy is abusing the hell out of him for it, which I love to see. So, Kenny has now maxed out. Doesn't have much of an economy at all. Hydra's doing the thing in there. Oh, dude, if this lands, I would be so freaking ecstatic. I don't think so, though, because there are a bunch of Overseers here. Got lots and lots and lots of nukes. Hits right before the drone gets up there to make that, so that's a bit unfortunate. This base will be taken out right? No, actually no. Main army is going to come over here and defend it, but this base is being perpetually nuked. Jiggy is going to come up and probably nuke this one as well. There are 6 nukes being remade. I think there are there 6? There must be a 6th Ghost Academy somewhere, right? I'm going to find it. I swear, there it is. Yep. So 6 Ghost Academies. Zerglings are not going to take out a planetary fortress with building armor. It just won't happen. The interesting thing is that for probably about the past 10 minutes, maybe even more, Kenny has been relegated to his side of the map. He's just been running around frantically trying to defend nukes. Has not launched a meaningful attack in a while now. Jiggy gets off a snipe. He's going to snipe, run back to the defensive position. Tanks and planetary fortresses are going to tell Kenny to stay in his lane. This is my territory, bro. And more nukes incoming. Cancel on the hatchery. He actually could have let that go. The nuke won't kill it, but honestly, I don't even blame him because he's probably not going to pull the whole army over there to defend it anyway, so you might as well just give it up. This is actually one of the biggest discrepancies I've seen in a game this long. It looks like another nuke is going to go down here on this base. This is fantastic. Getting the full... Oh man, he was just barely in range of the nuke. Getting the full nuke meme treatment, as Jiggy might say. He's all about those nuke memes. I know he likes when I use them. I love to see it. All right, infestors. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there isn't an easy answer in this scenario, but for whatever reason, Kenny is just averse to Spire Tech. I think probably Broodlords would be the only possible answer. Even then, it's not going to be easy. But I don't really know what infestors with Neural Parasite are going to do. You're not going to neural every ghost, and even if you do, what are you going to do with that? Start sniping Marines or something? I guess theoretically, if you neural... Actually, no. If you neural a ghost, you can't use a nuke, right? Because the Ghost Academy has the nuke. The ghost only calls it down. So yeah, you wouldn't even be able to use the nuke. I have no idea what the Neural Parasite is going to accomplish here. It's actually interesting though. I never thought about that before. But yeah, so Neural Parasiting the ghost would only be good for snipe or EMP. In this case, only snipe. But like I said, what are you going to do? Start sniping Marines or Marauders? It's not going to be worth it. Double nuke on this base might take it out. It's going to be close. Looks like the ghosts will provide just enough follow-up DPS. And these infestors are doing basically what I expect them to do in this scenario, and that is nothing. There's really no chance for them to do anything. This base will go down quite easily, but honestly, it's not even that important to Jiggy. Granted, it would be really nice. He doesn't have an economy. He does not have an economy right now, and he certainly can't let Kenny mine from this. But as long as he has this defensive posture and just keeps taking out Kenny's bases, ultimately it's not really going to matter that much. He will want to retake this for sure, but I guess what I'm saying is it's not urgent right now. It wasn't as though that was a critical blow. Looks like the Viper is going to abduct the Ghost, which interrupts the nuke. Hey, today I learned. I actually didn't know that either. That kind of sucks. Because even if you... That's actually really funny, because if you attack a Ghost, it doesn't interrupt a nuke. It'll interrupt the snipe, but not a nuke. So, if you abduct it, it interrupts the nuke. For those who didn't know. Like I said, I just found that out. Looks like Jiggy is feeling confident enough now to push out and put the finishing touches on this game. With that being said, I mean, it's actually going to be tough. This is not going to be an easy engagement. It's going to come down to positioning. You know, if we've learned anything from this game, it's that Jiggy's positioning and general army control is much better than his opponent's. Nice fumble, but look at that. Nice fumble from Kenny. However, kind of leaving his investors there to die afterward is far from optimal. And speaking of far from optimal, when you have melee units behind your range units, and I mean literally almost every single melee unit behind a ranged unit there, that's the best guaranteed way to lose an engagement. So once again, it's almost prophetic. I said Jiggy has shown that his army control is far superior to his opponents, and then once again in that engagement, he proves it. Now, as crazy as this sounds, wait, what the hell? Oh my goodness! As crazy as this sounds, I need to go back to this game. I was just going to say, this base here being taken out does end up, or does leave Jiggy in an urgent position after losing his whole army here. But like, first of all, what an insane game. Thank you, Jiggy, for sending that one in. Like that was actually an awesome game. That was really exciting. And I thought for sure that you had this game won. Like I was just ready to call it. I actually I want to rewind. I don't even know how to rewind with this overlay. So yeah, I wanted to rewind because the engagement was actually won here by Jiggy. He killed off all of those infestors. He killed pretty much all of the important units from Kenny. However, it was the pursuit with the tanks pursuing the units up here that led to Jiggy's undoing. So check this out. This is insane. This is not every day that you're going to see this. Jiggy outtraded his opponent by almost 20,000 resources in the end, and it really did come down to the fact that Kenny was able to mine from this base, almost completely mine it out, and he mined a bit from this base. Jiggy was not able to mine too much from this base, and again, didn't get anything from either of these bases. So basically, Kenny was able to trade so inefficiently, um, but mine just enough to be able to win the game. That game was nuts. I was seriously just about to call that for Jiggy, like including right up until that final engagement there. What a sick game, though. And yeah, Jiggy, you definitely, could have or should have won in some spots, but it can be hard to make those calls in the game. That was a sick game though, and thanks for wait, I was going to ask when you're free to watch a replay of mine if it costs. Yeah, absolutely. Take some notes. Send me the replay. Yeah, you've got a lot of points there. So redeem that replay, man. I will cast it right now. But yeah, Jiggy, sometimes it can be hard, to make those calls in the game and realize like what exactly his economic position is and how you should play it. So sick game though, and I appreciate you sending me a loss too, because again, as I say before, I like when people mix in the losses because it makes it that much more exciting for me to cast when I have no idea what's going on, or I should say no idea what the outcome is going to be. All right, take some notes. Yeah, you just let me know as soon as you find a good one. Take your time there. Let's see. What else did I miss? Give you one of my games cast, but there wouldn't be much safer the first 5 minutes other than when is she going to fill her gases. I'll say this though, the games don't have to be like high league at all for them to be entertaining. In fact, I mean, I've seen like some crazy gold and platinum league games where they're so close, or like very unpredictable things happen that it still makes it really exciting. So a good game is a good game, regardless of the league it takes place in. So don't be shy about sending replays for me to cast. Let's see. Yeah, that was an awesome game, Jiggy. And like the crazy thing is, like I said, you outplayed him really hard. It really just came down to that mining situation. And the thing is, I thought for sure since you had another CC, I thought you would you'd be able to kind of take that other base when you wanted it. But I guess you just got a bit over aggressive with your army after defeating his army. All right, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna I think I have to update if I want to play on EU, which I do. I have to update. So I'm just gonna go second account on NA, which is in Master 2 anyway. So I'm gonna do this. Yeah, it happens, man. It was an awesome game, highly entertaining. I'm gonna get into a game here while we wait for take some notes to find a replay. Like to get a couple more games in. I have to go to the gym a bit later, so got to get my games in now. All right, we got a Protoss. I've been doing a different variation of my proxy factory. Lately, I've been following it up with a Banshee, and it seems to be working out pretty well.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
I am going to do something totally crazy, though, and I'm going to go
Not
CC
enough
first
minerals.
in TVP. Wish me luck, boys.
SCV ready.
CC first,
In the rear
TVP.
with the gear.
Why does SC2 sign out after I'm done watching a replay solo? If it's a replay from an old patch, then it will sign out. If it's from the current patch, it won't
Additional
sign you
supply
out.
depots required.
But since there was just a patch today, you know, basically all your replays are going to be from the old
Go
patch.
ahead.
So it forces you to go offline to watch them.
Ah,
CC first, TVP, boys. Can it be done? Can it be done in one? It can certainly be done. Can it be done in one? That's the question.
let's go. Go ahead.
Probably not.
In the rear with the
That's the
gear.
most likely answer.
SCV ready.
But I am gonna try. I'll be damned if I don't try.
Ah,
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV.
Not enough minerals.
Yep. Go ahead. What's going on?
Not enough minerals.
Okay, so he's going with the fast expansion as well.
SCV ready. In the rear. Big job.
Not enough minerals.
I'm going. SCV ready. Ah! What's going on? SCV ready. Huh? Go ahead.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
This better be good. By the numbers.
Base is under attack.
Armed and ready. Who wants some?
Command center upgrade. Not enough minerals.
You gonna give me?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Been waiting.
Command center upgrade complete. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. What's going on?
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Who wants? SCV ready. Scare me. SCV ready. Big job, huh? In the rear. Here. SCV ready. You want a piece? SCV ready. SCV ready. SCV ready. Go ahead.
Not enough minerals. Not enough.
SCV ready. SCV ready. I can't build here. Well, butter my
Not enough
biscuit.
minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not
SCV
enough.
ready.
Not enough minerals.
By the SCV ready. Ready to raise some hell. SCV ready. We could use some help here. SCV ready. This better be.
Add-on complete.
SCV ready. SCV ready. Ready to raise some hell.
So the good news about this is there's actually nothing I can do.
SCV ready.
I'm saying that sarcastically, of course.
Go ahead. SCV ready. Ah! SCV ready. Arm.
Receiving.
SCV ready.
Upgrade complete.
Move it.
Research.
Ready to blunder. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not,
SCV ready.
not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
All back.
Add-on.
SCV ready.
Oh, it's on.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Gangway, coming.
SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Aye, aye. Go, boom.
SCV ready.
Not enough. Research complete. Not enough. Add-on complete.
Wait,
Not enough minerals.
can't hold it alone. It's about to get heavy. Who won?
Ready for dust off.
Not enough minerals.
Bad news.
You want a piece of me, boy? Oh. Go, go, go.
Not enough minerals.
This better be good. Gangway, coming. Let's have a
Our SCVs are under attack. Not enough minerals.
who wants some.
Not enough minerals. Not enough.
This better be good.
Research complete. Not enough minerals.
What's going on?
Not enough. Not enough minerals.
Gangway, coming.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Research.
Armed and ready. By the...
Not enough minerals.
Ready for dust off.
Go, go, go!
SCV ready.
You gonna get...
Not enough minerals. Command
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
This better be good here. Game come.
Not enough.
Ready for dust off.
Upgrade complete.
Let's have a blast.
Not enough minerals. Not enough energy.
Who wants some?
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field
So he probably has
depleted.
Storm.
Additional supply depot.
Ready for dust off.
It's about to get heavy.
Research complete.
Ready for dust off.
This better be one of these.
Not enough minerals.
Who wants some? Go, go, go!
Insufficient Vespine gas. Your forces are under attack.
Baby!
Not enough.
Oh, it's on. Ready to blunder.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Huh?
Ready to blunder.
Not enough minerals.
Been waiting some.
Not enough minerals.
It's go time. This better be. You can.
Not enough minerals.
Who wants some? Ready to blunder. Let's have a blast. You finally want a piece of me, boy.
Mineral field depleted.
Kaboom, baby!
Not enough minerals.
It's go time.
Not enough minerals.
What's going on?
Who wants some? Go, go, go!
Huh? Ah!
Ready to blunder. Ready to blunder. Oh, it's on.
Upgrade complete.
This better be good.
Upgrade complete. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Armed and ready. Let's have a blast.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough. Add-on complete.
Big job, huh? Man,
Not enough minerals. Mineral field depleted.
Will do, Command.
It's go time. Orders.
fueled up, ready to go.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Command.
About to get heavy.
Insufficient. Add-on complete.
Ghost reporting.
Come again.
Kaboom, baby!
Huh? In the rear with the gear.
Ghost reporting.
Not enough minerals.
Huh?
Add-on.
It's go time. Time's a wasting. Oh.
Not enough energy. Insufficient Vespine gas. Insufficient research complete.
Ghost reporting.
Insufficient Vespine gas.
Life flight's here.
Ghost reporting.
Talk.
Add-on complete.
Ghost reporting. Ghost reporting.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Too hot.
Mineral field depleted.
You sure out with it?
Insufficient
Ghost reporting.
What's going on?
Not enough energy. Mineral field depleted. Nuclear missile ready. Our SCVs are under attack.
You want a piece of me, boy?
Min-
Out with it. Solo operative, right? Who wants some? Come again.
Base is under attack. Upgrade.
Kaboom, baby! Transformation. Go time. Oh, this better be good. It's about to get heavy.
Upgrade complete.
Big job. Go ahead.
Who wants some?
Not enough. Upgrade. Mineral field. Unacceptable landing zone. Not enough
You want a
minerals.
piece of me, boy? Let's have a blast.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the
it's
rear
on.
with the gear.
It's about to get heavy. Gangway, coming through.
Not enough minerals. Nuclear missile.
It's go time. Armed and ready.
What's going on?
Let's have a blast.
Not enough minerals.
Bad news?
Ghost report.
Not enough energy.
This better be good. You sure about that?
SCV ready.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Huh?
Reporting for
Who wants some?
liberation.
SCV.
Vespine geyser exhausted. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Command center upgrade complete.
In the rear.
Ghost report. Go, go, go! It's about to get heavy.
Not enough minerals.
Oh, it's on. This better be good. Kaboom, baby! Go.
Mineral field. Not enough energy. Not enough minerals. Not enough energy.
Huh?
Let's have a...
Not enough minerals.
Give me this. You're gonna get... Can't hold him alone. We could use some help.
Mineral field depleted. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Alright, I get it. I get it, guys. I get it. I went CC first against Protoss. What did I expect? I just wanted to try it. So shoot me. Alright, let me see what I missed in the chat. Not sure what replay to give. Is replay where I messed up the build in the very beginning. There's another replay where I went really through the game. There's replay where... whichever one you think is the most exciting, man. Depending on how much time you have. 2 replays late for you to watch. One is 8-minute game. The other is 15. Also know you wanted the letters as well. Yeah, let's see. Did you send me by Whisper? Alright, yeah, just yeah, send them to me via Whisper here on Twitch. And I will try to get to them today, but like I do want to get my ladder session in before going to the gym. So if not today, then tomorrow for sure. You can upload them to a third-party site like shoot, what is it? SC2replays.com.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
You can also just attach as a file and send to my email, which is SymphoniCscGaming@gmail.com. So either way will work. I tried CC first against
In the rear
Protoss.
with the gear.
I tried. Didn't think it was that bad, really.
Additional supply depots required.
Just needed to be cleaner against his Phoenixes and not lose so much.
Not enough
If I would have had
minerals.
probably more Vikings when I pushed at his 4th, maybe I
enough
could have pulled it off,
minerals.
maybe.
Huh? SCV ready.
Alright, back to the proxy factory for now.
What's going?
Symphonic SC, as in StarCraft, Symphonic SC Gaming
SCV ready.
at Gmail.
Go ahead. SCV ready.
And if I don't get to it in this stream session, I will definitely get to it in the
Go
next one.
ahead. In the rear with the gear. Huh? SCV ready. Ah! You scared me. Huh? Go ahead. Big job, huh? In the rear.
Who wants some? This better be good. By the numbers, boy.
Command center upgrade complete.
Been waiting on you. On.
What? Ah! Huh? Ah! SCV ready. Yep. SCV ready.
The Grim Reaper has arrived.
Go ahead.
Not enough minerals.
What's going on? SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Big job, huh? Move it.
Base not enough minerals.
I'm scared from I'm listening.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Got something for me to kill. Yes, indeed.
SCV ready.
Systems go. Cyclone ready for action. Show me who you want to die.
SCV ready.
This ought to be good.
Go ahead. In the rear with the gear. Huh? SCV ready. Crew. Ah! SCV ready.
Not enough.
Who wants some?
SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
In the rear
Add-on
with the
complete.
gear. I can't build here. Huh?
Not enough minerals. Command center upgrade complete. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Go ahead. What's going on?
Not enough minerals.
This better be
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Yep. Bad news. SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Add-on. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
gangway coming through.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
How about
Not enough minerals.
inbound?
Big job. Huh?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Research complete.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Call the ball.
Base is under attack.
SCV ready.
Add-on.
SCV ready.
Loud and clear. This could get messy.
What's going on? Something in the way.
SCVs are under attack.
Go on, just so the word gets.
Huh? SCV ready.
Mayday! Mayday! Call the ball. They ain't getting all of that.
SCV.
Not enough minerals.
I got my ears on. Can do. Fine. Yeah? All back.
SCV.
Research complete.
Gangway, coming through.
Research complete.
Bad news. SCV ready.
Yeah?
Big job. In the rear. Go ahead. Ah!
Not enough.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Call the ball.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. Huh? Bad news? What's going on?
This better be good.
Ready for dust off.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready.
Research complete. Base is not enough minerals.
By the number.
Command center upgrade complete.
I'm in a world of hurt.
GG. GG. All right. Sent them to. Okay, great, man. Um, I'm intrigued. All right, let me download those replays. I may actually be able to get to them today. I mean, I should definitely be able to get to them today. I think I may be able to get to them this stream session. I am curious as to what he means by a coin flip. Coin flip is, it's like a build order win or loss, like if he scouts it or something, but I landed the factory in his vision. How is that a coin flip? You have access to all information. Like, what an idiot. Anyway, some people can't be helped, man. Okay, downloaded and downloaded. Documents. Give me one moment. All right, cool. Got them in my folder, so we'll be good to go. Thanks, man. Not sure how to spell. I believe it's replay_cast. Try replay_cast without the exclamation point. I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm sorry, and I'm new at this as well. Okay, there, man, you're a lot smarter than I am. Yeah, the commands, exclamation point commands will work. I want to get to the bottom of this, but okay, it's a Grandmaster tournament. So let's see, I'm playing a Diamond 2 Terran, which is basically what I am in TVT. I'm probably not quite that low, but not very good in TVT. The only way it's a coin flip is if he goes like one base robo and I don't have factory units at home, or if he goes proxy robo, but even then I get to attack him before he attacks me. So I guess that would be a coin flip scenario, but I think for that matter, every game is a coin flip. If I choose to go Reaper expansion and you go, I don't know, like you're proxying everything at me, like proxy gateway into proxy, who knows, double robo or something while I'm trying to expand, then yeah, like everything's a coin flip by that definition. Okay, that's what I thought. But yeah. So I float the building fully in his vision, land it, obviously, in his vision, and this idiot just doesn't know how to respond. So that's a coin flip. We'll save that one. First whining, Protoss. There we go. Save. Wait, what? Did my opponent forfeit? What am I missing here? I thought I was ready this whole time. Alright, I really don't want a forfeit. Sweet. Sweet. Alright, let's get a cast in. So we can definitely get one of these games in now, possibly even two. I do have to switch accounts though. So give me 1 second. But yeah, a coin flip would be something like proxy gateway against proxy barracks. Something like that, where it's I mean, truly a coin flip, where you don't, it's not clear who's going to win, but it's a volatile scenario. Or something where someone gets a very clear build, they choose a super risky build, and they just get lucky in that the opponent chooses a build that's really weak to it, or vice versa. And not all cheeses are coin flips. Not even close. Alright, let's do this. People saying things that are factually incorrect kind of bother me, in case you haven't noticed. That's one way to get me rustled. Robert Plant. Alright, we got a Led Zeppelin fan here. So we'll do the 15-minute game, and then we'll check in and see if my tournament game is ready. Here we go. No need to be afraid, man. By the way, so the way I had it structured is to cast it, but if you want me to like do analysis, I can do that as well. So it's up to you. I can just like straight cast it, or um, try to give specific feedback. You just let me know what you would like. By default, I'll just start out like more in caster mode. Okay, so you want analysis? All right, sweet. So we will do that. If it's analysis, then I will, like I'll fast forward through parts and stuff like that. Because if it's a casted game, then go more for the entertainment aspect. But yeah, so we'll take a look here and try to break some stuff down. The opponent playing it cool and just straight up not responding. Gotta love that. Wait, what? I think he was actually I think he was away from his keyboard for a second there because he didn't. Yeah, he definitely was because he wasn't making SCVs. Okay, and he's all right. So he's a Diamond Zerg player off racing this Terran. And all right, this is kind of crazy. So this is already going to be. I'm going to slow it down right now. I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to focus more on your build than the opponent's because I'll tell you, like right now, this is not a thing. That's actually just bizarre. Not something you could ever like blindly prepare for. You would have to scout it. But so anyway, all right, let's take a look at the build. See how efficient we are. We're going to expand straight to reactor. That's fine in TVT. Usually when people do that though, usually they're going like one base with double gas and they put the factory right on this for double cyclone production. So this is pretty risky to expand with no Reaper. So I'll just point that out. You could run into trouble doing this. Even if he's not going proxy Reaper, his Reaper is going to get here before, if he's going Reaper. If he's going with like a Reaper fast expand, his Reaper will get to your base before you have any units out, and you're going to have to micro SCVs against the Reaper, which it's a pain in the ass. So just keep that in mind. Bit of a risk. I don't build Reaper since I don't think I'm skilled enough to make use of it. Honestly, I would recommend that you just force yourself to do it because it's a really, really crucial part of pretty much like almost all Terran builds. But that's definitely my recommendation. But yeah, in this scenario, like I said, if he's going with a standard Reaper expansion, the Reaper will show up like right around now, and this will be delayed. Doesn't mean you'll you'll lose a bunch of SCVs. If you micro your SCVs really well and you get these two Marines out, you can hold it without taking many losses, but your expansion will be delayed and his expansion will be ahead. So just something to keep in mind. Alright, we got the double racks follow-up. So of course these should both have tech labs, I'm assuming. Can I just build it and use it? Yeah, absolutely. That's actually quite common. You just build that Reaper for defense. And I would recommend, like if you want to be really safe in TVT, SCV Scout at 17 supply. And you build your Reaper for defense. I'm just going to pause it right now. This is actually really important. TVT 17 SCV Scout his base, and what you want to look for is 1 gas or 2 gases. If it's 2 gases, it is a little different in lower leagues because guys aren't executing like the best build orders. But if it's 2 gases, then you can expect some kind of 1-1-1 build. That's usually the case. It could be something like 2 or 3 racks Reaper or something crazy. It's usually going to be 1-1-1, and if you're expanding, you should expect to be defensive. If it's 1 gas, that's usually just going to be a Reaper fast expand. There aren't really any aggressive early game builds in TVT that are off of 1 gas. So 17 SCV Scout, make a defensive Reaper. Depending on what your SCV scouts, you may want to make a second Reaper. If he scouts that there shouldn't be any aggression coming, you can go straight into this reactor. That's what I would recommend. And plus, if you do it that way, number 1, you're going to get more practice using your Reaper. And then number 2, that build is also going to transition more into builds that you'll start using in the in higher leagues once you get there. All right, let's resume. Okay, factory, you're probably going to look to take a second gas soon, I would think. So you need 100 for stim, 100 for combat shields, and then you're going to need gas for whatever factory units you want. So it looks like the second gas is going to be late here. There's stim. Okay, a reactor, so it's actually... Alright, I mean, this can work too. You're gonna have a ton of Marines. That's good. And this guy is doing 3 racks Reaper, which is pretty obnoxious. It's not very common anymore, thank goodness. But, alright, so yeah, you can do it this way too. Ton of Marines, get combat shields off of the same tech lab. No big deal. There's a second gas. And so yeah, doing it this way without simultaneous upgrades, you won't need that gas quite as early. So that much is true. Let's see. Fast forward a little bit. That's a good job there. Good job clearing those out. Yeah, your build is much, much better than his, by the way. He's basically doing the same thing that you're doing with 3 racks and an expansion, but you expanded first, so obviously your economy is going to be far superior. Supply block definitely hurts, but happens to everybody. Very nice. Should see double medevacs. Yeah, the supply blocks are actually starting to hurt a lot now. So that's a really big deal. And as a general rule, by the way, not sure if you're aware of this or not, but Bio wants to have 2 supply depots building at all times, and Mech usually they want 3 building at all times. But you build a bunch there, they'll finish up, so you relieve the supply block. But I just wanted to state as a general rule, basically designate 2 SCVs, 2 supply depots at all times. And then, like I said, if you play Mech, 3. Good job scouting the map. Take a look at the worker count. Whoops. Worker count, good. Pretty much ahead in every way right now. Combat shields finishing up. This is actually really good. Really well timed as well. We'll take a look at it. Alright, so this is when the attack is hitting. Very well timed. Showing up almost exactly when combat shields finishes and like right when +1 attack is finishing. So it looks like your execution of this is actually pretty darn good. Let me see if there are any questions. Gas is really late, looks like. To reserve a control group for 2 SCVs when going by. I don't personally, but that's actually not a bad idea at all. Yeah, if you want to go with that, I definitely wouldn't. I would not advise against it. Definitely a good way to think about it. But yeah, you'll have the same 2 SCVs building their supply depots for the whole game until you reach max. But yeah, so let's take a look at the macro, see what's going on here. All right, extra reactors, beautiful. We don't yet know if it's mech or bio. Yes, we do. Okay, we do. All right, actually was curious about that. I'm guessing there was a scan that I missed. But at any rate, so we do know it's bio. That allows us to make additional reactors. If we scouted that it was mech, of course, we would want these to be tech labs. But we know it's bio, so additional reactors, and we're good to go here. Armory, by the way, should be on the way. Not sure if you're aware of this, but when your upgrade is halfway done, that's when you can start your armory. And it will time out, so when the armory is complete, you'll be able to go straight into 2-2. So another general rule to look for. When I'm doing this first push, should I be taking a 3rd CC behind it? I would say definitely yes. Now, the way you're doing it with 5 racks, that can work as well. There are basically 2 ways to play TVT. Okay, I guess there are 3 ways. But you've got your one rack, and I'm ignoring factory and starport for now. We're assuming factories and starports are built. But 1 racks and a fast 3rd command center. Obviously, you're going to need to defend. You might like send out a single drop or a Banshee or a Liberator. You want to harass. You need to be on the map and finding out if he's attacking you. But so there's that way. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty tough. Like pretty much only pros will play that way. It's really hard to defend, and your map awareness has to be really strong because you're vulnerable. But then what's more common would be like 3 racks and then a 3rd base. That's kind of a middle of the road build. Again, you want to be active on the map, find out what's going on, and then make your decisions based off of that. If he has a faster 3rd base than you, then you attack his 3rd base. That's really what TVT boils down to, by the way. And then 5 racks, which is what you're doing here, and that's totally fine as well. You want to do damage with 5 racks unless he is on 2 bases and 5 racks also. And then you just look for an opening to attack, and you want to get your 3rd base before him in that scenario. If you're both on 5 racks, 2 bases, you want to take your lead. with the faster third base. What I'm doing is one second. I've been doing the same build and pretty much the same build order in every matchup, by the way. Okay. This will give you problems in TVZ. Excuse me. In TVZ, it's going to be really hard for you once you start moving up, because they'll just out macro you and overwhelm you with numbers, like really really hard. You won't necessarily die um, to two base all ins or cheeses because you should have a decent amount of bio. But if they're playing a macro game and if you don't do like a ton of damage with this, you'll pretty much just get run over because your economy will be really far behind. Just something to keep in mind. But QXC, he was former pro Terran player. My friend took a few lessons with him. The way he broke it down to me, because TVT is my worst matchup, it's gotten a lot better, but it's still my worst. But basically, in TVT, your third base, while it can be an advantage, is also a liability. So the game basically boils down to pressuring your opponent's third if he gets it before you and doing damage, or if you take your third before him, defending your third, he has to attack you. It doesn't necessarily have to be at the third base location, but he has to attack you. You defend and then counter push. So all of your information in TVT is going to be centered around your opponent's economy. And so in this scenario, that all ties back to, all right, you're pushing out on the map with your 5 racks 2 base army, and you should be taking your third behind it. Doesn't have to be on location, but you should take your third behind it while you're gathering information with this squad, hopefully doing damage too. All right, we'll see. Slow it down a little bit. All right, by the way, this should at least poke immediately. You may not want to commit until +1 attack finishes. That's totally fine, but you should get some information. This scan also, by the way, does accomplish that same information. With 2 orbitals, I would be a bit reluctant to use a scan unless necessary, but that's fine. The best thing to do is to get the information, so don't really blame you. All right, so +1 attack is finished. Really nice timing here, actually, but he does have superior numbers. Really close, really close. So that was actually really, what was really nice here is that you had +1 attack against nothing, and you had 2 medevacs against no medevacs. So, well executed. And I actually wasn't sure that this squad would be able to take him out, because he did have superior numbers. It's going to be really close, but well played here. I mean, that basically should be the end of him. Really well executed. And there's no way he should be able to hold the follow-up attacks. He just did way, way too much damage to him. Yeah, 17 workers killed, 51 SCVs to 28. Follow-up attack should do it. Yeah, +2 attack on the way. Great. Really good job with the macro. So, all right, basically the game is over. Let's just take a look at where this stands. Okay, there's the third base behind it. And not too late, by the way, either. For starting out with 5 racks on 2 bases, this, that's more or less on time. A bit of oversaturated here, of course, but not a huge deal considering you did devastating damage there. But yeah, so the macro is actually looking pretty good. Bit underspending by a bit, but once again, the focus was on the attack and that was successful. So, I'm not going to be too picky. Should you have targeted the CC? No, I think you did exactly what you were supposed to do there. You took out a ton of SCVs. I mean, if you get the CC, great. But you took out a ton of SCVs and you took out his army. Honestly, I don't see how you can throw it from here, so there has to be a huge blunder to see it. One big issue is closing out games. Okay, well, so we'll keep that in mind. All right, before I even see what happens in this game, I'll tell you right now how to close this out. Number 1, get vision on the map. Put a Marine here, a Marine here, a Marine here, a Marine here, one over here. So get vision. The only way that he can come back after you, not only did you destroy his economy, you also killed his army. So the only thing that you have to worry about is guerrilla tactics like this. I don't know if he has another medevac, but just sending annoying drops around the map. That is the only thing that you have to worry about right now. You can't lose an army on army engagement unless you like move command into him or you run into a tank line. Um, and he's not economically ahead, so he's not going to overwhelm you in the long game. So the only way that you can lose is through sort of like falling apart, um, being stretched out by the guerrilla tactics. How do I beat drops? Honestly, there's no super easy way to do it, but I would suggest sensor tower here, or it doesn't have to be there, but sensor tower on the left side, sensor tower on the right side, and then like I said, a unit in every possible attack path. So one over here, 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 and here. And this is something that I need to do a lot more frequently, by the way. I've recently started doing it a lot more. Once your economy is established, then yes, put up a ton of turrets. But I would be mostly concerned with getting sensor tower on each side, vision to every possible attack path, which in this case, like I said, is probably going to take about 5 units. That's all. And once you have those things established, then you can start investing the minerals into the turrets. Do I just put? And yeah, so that's the other thing. Where are you rallying? Yeah, so this is fine. What you're doing here is fine as well. So rally your units at home. Be active with this army, poke, but don't overcommit. Just in case he has like a tank set up here and a tank back here in good defensive positions. But poke, see what's there, and then attack where he's weak, while you're rallying your units at home. But yeah, so that's how you close out. Lock down the map. Vision for any possible attacks, and then deny his third base. If he doesn't mine from a third base, he should never be able to win in this scenario. Looks like he's actually going to try to build a third base right now. So this army needs to be active, by the way. This army has been sitting here for probably about 30 seconds. Not like super long, but they should be active the whole time. In fact, I would say if you're going to park them, instead of parking them in the center of the map, park them at the third. And this will never go down. I mean, you might kill it anyway. But yeah, I would park them outside of the third, and I would just keep running in to see when he's building it. Right, it's an annoying drop. These should be rallied here now. Looks like he's actually going to pick up, probably dropping your natural. Yeah, I would just if he's going to bounce between bases, I'd be like rallying around here somewhere central and then go in to kill. Now this army should be active the whole time, by the way. This army can actually A-move this. If this second tank is sieged up, then they can't A-move it. And now with the third tank, you definitely can't A-move it. But, so my whole point is that this army needs to be active and find out. You know what, by the way, do you have time right now? If you have time right now, we can do a resume from replay. And I'm going to take red, you play as yourself, and you're going to win the game. Alright, let's do it, because I think that'll be very helpful. So I'm going to identify, I'll give you the plan, you execute the plan. Like, I know what you're going to do, and if you execute it correctly, you should win. You will win, straight up. Okay, yeah, that hurt a lot. By the way, you're actually still ahead. Even with that, you're still ahead. So I'm going to sort of fast forward through the rest of this, and then we can do the resume from replay. By the way, you definitely want tanks. Playing without tanks in TBT is really, really difficult. Basically, it's almost impossible, especially if you're playing bio against bio. If you're playing against mech, the tanks aren't as important. So you want bio, marauders, and then you want Vikings for air control. Tanks still aren't really going to hurt you. But in bio versus bio, you absolutely need tanks. For one thing, it's going to deal with his Marines, but for another, it's going to help you lock down positions, like setting up your tanks here, 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 and locking down this choke point. So that's something else to keep in mind. Absolutely need tanks in bio versus bio. Marauders aren't any good in bio versus bio. So you just want Marine tank. Only time you really make Marauders in TBT um, for the most part, is against mech. I've seen some. I actually lost to a push the other day with Cyclone Marauder, which is kind of crazy. But aside from some sort of weird push like that, the only time you'll make Marauders is to go against mech. So Marines destroy it. You're still ahead right now. You're still actually like really far ahead. This medevac count is really important. I mean, you're ahead in Marines, healing us one tank. You could just kill him right now as well. Okay, he finally got his third base, but your fourth is up, and you're making it an orbital. Actually, I like that. It's really greedy. It's hard. It'd be hard as hell to hold, but I like that. Generally speaking, you would make your fourth planetary, but if you can get away with an orbital, that's great. All right, double drop. This is probably going to do some damage, I would bet. And again, okay, so we kind of see the same syndrome here. This army is sitting. Yeah, they need to be active. They need to keep poking, just constantly poking. All right, that's really good. Okay, they were on move command for a while there. Actually, yeah, they were on move command for a while. That's a really, really big problem. They move commanded into here and then attacked. So they needed to be on attack move into the whole way and then split off a separate group to go after the tank. I think part of the problem I have is being not confident enough to push the enemy. Honestly, from what I see in this game, I think you're right. But once we learn how to identify where to attack and when to close the game, the confidence is going to come. So, all right, let's oh wait, are we even damn it, you know what? I just realized we're not going to be able to shoot. We're not going to be able to do resume from replay because this is an old replay and we have to go offline to watch it. That's really annoying. That sucks. All right. So, all right. Let me say this: if you have another TVT, like in the coming days, if you have another TVT where that happens, or I mean any game, for that matter, where you fail to close it out, like you're ahead but you fail to put it away, send it to me and we'll do a resume from replay. But in that scenario, like I said, if I could identify a few things for the most part, like, you know, aside from a couple supply blocks, your macro was pretty good. You hit at an excellent timing, right when combat shields finished and right when +1 attack finished. +1 armor was a little bit behind, but it wasn't a big deal. So one thing I did notice is that a couple of times you move command to get in close and then you attack. I definitely would recommend attack move in, and then split off a separate group to target down the key unit. What's up, online strategy? How you doing, man? So like in that case, for example, attack move in and then split off a small group of Marines to target fire the tank. But because your army was taking a lot of fire as they closed the distance. All right, let's take a look at the other replay. Oh, so yeah, so that was one thing. Basically, you know, a comment on execution. Second thing, in TVTs specifically, keep in mind your third base versus his third base. If you got yours first, defend it, but send out small raiding parties to harass, drop in his base, whatever. Keep your main army back to defend. I went over a replay from Take Some Notes. And then the third thing, shoot, there was a third thing. Yeah, so it was the attack move to close the distance, third base versus third base situation. Oh, and then make tanks in TVT, specifically bio versus bio. Gotta make tanks. It's really, really important. Like I said, they'll help you deal with his Marines very well, but just as important is the fact that you'll be able to lock down positions. That's how you can strangle someone out of the game. It's actually a great way to close the game, is set up your tanks to attack like in the center of his bases, lock down, you know, where his units want to come out, in that on that map, for example, like right outside of his natural. So you basically will contain him. How do I realize I can push for the win? Like, I just think if the enemy has a couple tanks, I can't push him. Yeah, that's just going to come with experience. honestly, I've only recently, I'm still not really good at it. I've only recently gotten better at being able to judge when I can attack tanks and when I can't. It's pretty damn tough. But generally speaking, how do you realize when you can push for the win? If you take out his army like you did at his natural, you killed everything that he had except for one tank, and you killed his economy. You killed all of the workers that he had at his natural. That lets you know he can't possibly have an advantage over you. If you take out his army and you lose your army, like you both trade armies, then it comes down to whose economy is better. And this is obviously a case by case assessment you have to make. There's no like general rule, but it depends on what you've seen in the game. Like, have you seen him a third base? If the answer is no, and you have a third base, then you know you'll have an advantage in the next push. Like, I just think of the enemy as. Oh, I'm sorry, I already read the one. So that's one thing. But all right, the trickiest situations to judge are when you trade army for economy. When you trade army for economy, depending on how much you trade and how good your economy is, it can be good, but the threat when you trade your whole army, let's say for like his third base and all of his SCVs at his third, now he's going to have a powerful counterattack, and you'll have to defend. If we both trade armies, how will I know when I'm ready to push again? When you both trade army, next time I get a big upgrade, I would. So this is case specific. It's hard to give a general rule, but I would say it comes down to economy. If you both trade armies and you're on even bases, you're going to have to constantly get information. What online strategy said is true as well. Your scans are going to be important, but for specifically though to find army positioning. So I'll tell you some of the factors that come into my head in that situation. So yes, it can be with an upgrade, but you want to know what his upgrades are. So for example, if I know I've been ahead in upgrades all game, like I noticed my 1-1 was done and he was at 0-0, and I went straight into my 2-2. I know as soon as my 2-2 hits, I know for a fact I'm going to have an advantage. So that could be a time. Like, let's say we both traded armies when I was at 1-1 and his 1-1 completed in the middle of the engagement or something like that. I know for a fact I'm going to have a window at 2-2, so I can look to engage there. This is assuming we have a totally even economy and we trade out armies in a totally even fashion, but I know I have an upgraded advantage. I'm going to look to push hard when my upgrade's complete. The only way I won't push hard is if he is just being defensive and setting up a fortified position with like a bunch of siege tanks or something, and then you have to address that situation specifically with like anti-siege tactics. So that would be things like, if you can, getting friendly fire on the tanks by dropping your units onto his tanks so they kill each other, transitioning into liberators, and you want to have air control with your Vikings to start slowly pushing them back, things like that. But so all right, so besides these scenarios, the other scenario when you trade army for army, and let's say you're on even upgrades, everything is even. You're on even bases, even worker count. Not that you would know that for a fact, but you can have a good idea of it. Like, neither of you have killed each other's workers, so even army, even workers, even bases. What you have to start doing is getting information on where his army is. And yeah, air superiority is really critical in TVT because as we've discussed before, it elongates the range of your tanks. When you've got Vikings and he doesn't, or he has less Vikings than yours, you put them out ahead, slowly leapfrog your tanks forward. But so all things equal, you need to look for positional advantages. This is actually where TVT is the most like chess, in my opinion. You have to play a positional game, and that's also where tanks come into play. So everything is equal. You have to fight for the best position. So that's going to be a position in which you can cut off his reinforcements, like set up tanks, cut off his reinforcements. A position where your siege tanks are attacking his, let's say his like third base mineral line, for example. So in order to do this, you need to get information on where his army is. You're going to do that by sending out your Marines around the map using your scans, but all of your actions should be designed to find out where his army is. Always find out where his army is. Like I said, this is in a game where absolutely everything is equal. You have to outposition him. Um, Generally speaking, it's pretty hard to win a TVT with a tech switch in an even game. In some games, like when you get ahead, you can transition to air before he does, and in that way you can kind of tech switch for the win. But in an even game, it's pretty hard to do that because if you're just going for like a pure air transition, um, it can also be a way to lose the game. In fact, I think when guys go for like BCs or something, I think it's a good way to lose the game. Like in an even game, one player goes for BCs, they try to transition to that higher tech. A lot of times that can be the downfall. So positioning, that's the short answer. Fight for position. Get a position. Let me put it this way: get a position that you would hate to have to eradicate. Like if someone were to set their tanks up in that position on you, um, and you would have no idea how to deal with it, that's what you want to strive to do. Usually it involves locking down a choke point, um, attacking the ramp from the main base to the natural, because obviously that's where all the reinforcements go through, things like that. But the common denominator in these scenarios is you will need tanks to do it, so keep that in mind. All right, any other questions before we head on to the second replay? I'll give you about 10 seconds to respond or so. Hopefully that answers your questions. I just had a chess lesson today too, so I'm already thinking like very positionally. Wish it would translate directly into TVT. Translates pretty well, but still have to do a little work because there's a lot of execution involved. All right, we're gonna head on to the next replay. 1 second. Get OCD about floating when I'm moving my army, so that's why I'm slow to move my army. That's understandable. That is understandable. But when as your experience increases, you'll get better at that. Thanks, online strategy. As your experience increases, you'll get better about just using the mini map to move your army around. You're not necessarily going to be using your screen time on it as much. You still obviously need to check in and make sure you don't run into anything. Um, but for the most part, you're just going to be using the mini map to send your army around. And so what I'm saying is it shouldn't come at the expense of spending. So, Jiggy? All right. Robert Plant, our Led Zeppelin fan here. That's the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, for those of you who don't know. That's why I keep saying that. Wow, what's going on with Twitch, man? And, alright, another TVT. Cool. So hopefully we can use some of the concepts we were discussing in analyzing this replay. I think I'm going to miss that tournament game. I don't really care, though. I've got to go to the gym soon anyway. Oh, Twitch didn't work for a moment? Dang. Alright, so again, by the way, I definitely recommend a 17 SCV Scout in TVT, which is what this guy is doing, by the way. So he sees one gas. From his, by the way, so I want to point this out because this is the information that you'll get. What your opponent saw is all he needed to see. He shouldn't get the second supply depot if he plans to. Okay, this is just a bad build. I'm not going to lie. This is a bad build from the opponent. But we'll get into that in a second. But so what he sees is, oh, wow, he didn't even, he checked this one. All right, so honestly, I would want to know, what, if there's gas here for sure. I mean, there should be. But he sees that it's not two gases, which is the most important thing. So he knows that it's like 99% he's up against an expansion build. So basically he knows he doesn't have to worry about anything. So, all right, so let's keep that in mind because this is the information that I want you to have in your games. Now, it looks like you chased his SCV out, but as of right now, you don't know if you're going up against a 111, you don't know if you're going up against a Reaper Expo, you don't know if you're going up against a cheese. So, that's just something to keep in mind. more information we have, the better, because it gives us it gives us the ability to better assess where we are in the game. All right, yeah, this is not a good build. Yeah, it's not a good build. If he's gonna go for 2 racks, this racks was super, super, super late. So this build doesn't make any sense. I'm just gonna point that out. Your build is much better. Supply block hurts a lot. This supply block actually hurts a lot. With a timing-based build, you want to minimize the supply blocks as much as possible. They're never good, but especially if you're going with a timing-based build, which is what this is. You want to hit that timing as crisply as possible. So just something to improve on there, which is already going to help you out a lot. But all right, second gas is at a better time this game, so I do like that. Got another reactor. So going to be lots and lots of Marines. He's going for so 2-1-1 infrastructure, but the 2-1-1 is not meant to work off of one base. I don't really understand what supply depots are down here. But all right, scan. So this is a good scan from the opponent. Lets him know where he stands economically. By the way, if I'm him and I see this, I know that I have to attack. It's 1 base versus 2 base, and he saw your saturation as well, so he has to attack here. This is not good. All right, and by the way, I'm pointing this out not to like talk shit on your opponent, but to let you know that you have a really, really big advantage in this game, like a really big advantage. All right, let me see what I'm missing in the chat. Mainly don't scout because I don't know what to look for and how to adjust. Okay, so does anything that I'm saying, does it help you? Does it help you know what to look for? And if not, just ask me any question and I'll try to be as specific as possible. You want to know if he's making units or eco. That is very much true. So always find out how many bases he's on. You want to find out when he took them. And in TVT early game, you want to know how many gases he's on prior to expanding. If 1 gas, you basically don't have to worry about aggression. Aside from like there are some crazy things like technically you can do like a proxy marauder rush off of a gas first with 1 gas, but even then it's best if you add a second gas behind it. So okay, as a general rule of thumb, if it's 1 gas in TVT, you don't have to worry about aggression. It's probably going to be something like a Reaper Expo, a 1 Rax Expo. If it's 2 gases, you need to be concerned about aggression, but it could be like a defensive 1-1-1, but that's why you get a follow-up scout. And your Reaper will help you a lot with that. So gases, basically, yeah, if it's 1 gas and 1 expo, I'm safe. No expo, 2 gas. Yeah, so it's not necessarily that you're in danger. Like it's not as though you're at a disadvantage, but you have to realize that you're probably going to be attacked. So so as an example, let's take this exact build that you're doing right now, and I'll tell you how I would adjust if I was you. All right, so we're doing your exact build, 3 racks before factory and before starport. That's what you want to do. You do a 17 SCV scout. Your SCV is going to come up here, and he is going to see, by the time he gets up here, he's going to see the barracks finish, and he'll be able to see whether or not there's 1 or 2 gases, and he'll see if there is a factory on the way. So that's what you want to be looking for. 1 or 2 gas, and then if there's 2 gas, does he have a factory? So what you would do then when your SCV scouts that, I would make a bunker, since again in this case you're going with 3 barracks, you're not going to be able to get a fast tank. I would make a bunker, and I would send a follow-up scout to find out specifically what he's doing. If it's something like tank Viking, it's absolutely imperative that you prevent him from getting to like a chokehold position. So if it's something like tank Viking, you'll have to pull SCVs. You'll have a lot of bio with the build that you're doing. You'll have a lot of Marines, but you would have to pull SCVs and attack it. If it's something like, let's say, reactored Cyclones, you can sit back more, get up your Marine count, wait for stim to finish, and you would be using your SCVs to repair the bunker. If it is Banshee, which is another very common occurrence, then of course you would want one turret in each mineral line, and you're going to have to run your Marines around to try to kill it or at least zone it out. So these are the adjustments that you would make. But again, if I scout 2 gases and no expansion just yet, I'm going to throw down a bunker just to be safe. And then I need to send a follow-up scout or a follow-up scan to find out specifically what's coming at me, because in TVT the various forms of aggression that you could face require specific responses. So all right, let's see. Okay, I think I got everything. If you have any questions, just ask. All right, again, this is well timed. Keeping some units at home. This is going to get across the map. Should be ready as like you hit your timings really well. You execute this really well. You got to be careful not to go into range. Okay, and don't drop. And don't drop here. Okay, this is good. Yeah, I did not want you to drop out there. That's not good. That's not good at all. But okay, so I liked that you didn't drop here when you saw tanks, so that's good. You weren't over aggressive, but then of course that was mismanaged here. Even with that being said, you're still ahead of him. As crazy as that sounds, like as much of a failure as that was, you're still ahead of him. That's actually a really important point to point out, because I want to illustrate how bad this guy's build was and the fact that you executed your build well. Even in losing those medevacs, we take a look at this. He has lost literally nothing. This is crazy, actually. He has lost nothing. You have lost 2 medevacs full of Marines, and you are still ahead of him. That's insane, actually. 45 workers to 27, and only 9 army supply behind. You're about to even up on upgrades. He will have a very slight advantage once he gets his +1 armor, but not a huge deal. It's nice. It's not a huge deal. The biggest factor for like Marine tank or bio versus bio is the attack upgrade. But anyway, so that's insane. You're ahead. You're getting your 3rd base before him. So yeah, you're ahead after donating all of these resources in the opening. That's crazy. But by the way, that speaks to the power of executing your build better than your opponent, even though it wasn't perfect, even though there was that supply block. Keep that in mind too. What should I have done with the medevacs? So don't feel that you need to force anything. This is something that like took me forever to learn, and again, I still have to improve on it. Like I'm not nearly as good as I should be with it. So when you poke in here, you saw this, there was a tank here and there was a tank here. You saw that. You can try to poke in here, but like if you're going to drop here, you don't need to fly into the mineral line. Drop here, keep the medevacs on hold position, and run your Marines in and kill some SCVs. So you can do that. If you're not comfortable continuing with pressure, which by the way, going back to like everything that we've been discussing, there is no impetus for you to do damage. You could sit back because you're economically ahead prior to losing all of that stuff. You're economically way ahead due to the fact that his natural was so late and your army supply was ahead. So you actually don't have to do anything. You literally could have flown the medevacs in here, saw 2 tanks, be like, okay, screw it, I'm going to pull back out, and I'm just going to deny his 3rd base. In fact, that's probably what I would have done, to be honest. You fly in here, see the tanks. Okay, I don't want to push this location, and I don't want to risk running into the main because maybe he has some Marines rallied there. Pull back out. You see there's no 3rd base here, so what I would do is start looking to shark my army like in and out here and just constantly check for a 3rd base while setting up defensively at home. If he doesn't take his 3rd base, he's not going to win. Like if you hell, you could even build this on the high ground, get your sensor towers that we talked about. You absolutely need tanks. I can't stress this enough. Deny his 3rd till when? Deny his 3rd forever. Deny his 3rd forever, and he only has 2 options. He has to use his whole army to break out, or he has to go for some kind of counterattack. But so that's what, either way, you taking your 3rd here can be on location, can be in base, doesn't matter. Setting up your sensor towers and rallying your units defensively while keeping these drops active. That's going to maintain your advantage. But again, you absolutely have to make tanks in bio versus bio. It's just you're making it really, really hard on yourself. Like if you have a tank here, let's say like a tank over here. Who knows? You can have a tank up here to defend from run-bys here. Like you're just in beautiful position as it is. Without any tanks to defend against this, you're just screwed. And not even because he like outplayed you or anything, you just don't have the right units. That's all. But okay, so to get back to your question, deny his third until when? As long as you can. And you know, if you have a third base and you've been denying his, you know you're ahead economically. So like if you wanted to be like really safe, you could just wait until you max out and then attack him. But honestly, you wouldn't really need to do that. So I would say, like in this example here, in this game, if you had tanks at home, you would be safe against this. As it is, kind of sucks 'cause you don't have tanks. But keep checking for his third. Um, set up. You would set up your tanks defensively, and after dealing with this army, which the way you would deal with it is you get Vikings out, have your Vikings out here um, to elongate the range of your tanks. You deal with this, and then you would counterattack at his third base, wherever that is, whether it's here or here. Counterattack at his third base to put the game away. Let's see. So since I'm going tanks, when should I tech lab in this build? With this build, I would get it um, as soon as you get your starport on your reactor. I wish I wasn't an idiot with this overlay and I actually knew how to rewind. Damn it. But yeah, so after you swap with starport, tech lab immediately and pump out tanks for the rest of the game. Don't stop. So yeah, like I said, this is unfortunate because like I said, your macro is better. Your you executed your build better. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. But I mean, that's also good news though too, to be honest. The good news is when you lose games like this, I think these are pretty easy fixes. I feel like most of my games I shouldn't be losing. Yeah, I totally agree. Both of those games that we saw definitely shouldn't have lost. But like I said, that's kind of good news because you're doing a lot of things right. And in both of these cases, the fixes are very, very simple. In actually both of these games, you gave the game to the opponent much, much more than he won it from you. So in the first game, like I said, there were a couple of times where you're move commanding to get into um, range instead of attack moving to get into range, and you took a lot of unnecessary damage on the way in. So that was, one thing. And in both games, lack of tanks hurts badly. If you have a couple of tanks set up here, he doesn't win the game here. Period. So, all right. Any other questions about this one? Don't get too discouraged, man. Uh, the kind of interesting thing is that you actually execute the more difficult aspects well, and it's like the simpler things, um, like just having the right composition, adding tanks in, are kind of in not move commanding in the first game. It wasn't like you were move commanding through the whole army, but you were on move command for too long. So that and then dropping here and losing everything to turrets was just totally unnecessary and it was an unforced error. So like the simple things you're kind of messing up, but the more complex aspects of the game, like hitting as soon as your stim, or I'm sorry, your combat shields and your +1 are complete, like for most people that's a lot harder because they screw up their macro so much, they like forget to research something, but you're nailing those. So when I'm denying a third, when do I know I can attack into his natural? Well, that's the important thing, is that you're not compelled to attack into his natural. So basically, what it comes down to, and what I mean by that is if you have a third, whether it's on location or not, if you have a third and he doesn't, you are not forced to attack. And in fact, most of the time, you shouldn't attack. Uh, what I mean by that is you shouldn't rush into attack. What you'll do is you'll set up your tanks. You lay siege to it. So instead of blitzing it, you siege it. You're going to set up like, a tank here, tank here. Heck, you could, if you have high ground vision, which you should have, like a tank here to start hitting his refinery, and get your Vikings in a nice place like over this air blocker. So they're elongating the range of your tanks. So yeah, that's get air superiority and lay siege. Don't blitz. Does that make sense? Remember, there's no need for you to attack into his natural. You don't have to do it. If you have a third and he doesn't, or if you've been denying his third all game, you don't have to blitz and end the game. Lay siege, make him run into your siege tanks. Leapfrog tanks and keep bio close. Exactly, 100%. That's it right there. That is how you do it. So like keep that in mind. The two modes of attacking. There's blitzing, which is running everything in, and you do that when you want to take someone by surprise, or if you have superior numbers, or your numbers are the same but you have superior upgrades, but you have an advantage in the fight one way or another, whether it's element of surprise and like his tanks aren't sieged, or you've created an advantage in the game where you have far superior numbers or upgrades, which are going to make the difference. If you don't have any of those advantages, then the second mode of attack, um, besides blitzing, is is sieging. So taking control of space, forcing him to attack in a suboptimal position. So again, that is like a tank here. Lock this down. If you hell, if you can get a tank here, by the way, I actually don't know if a tank fits there, but I haven't even tried that yet. It looks really nice. But a tank here or a tank here, tanks to control all of this space where his units have to come out. If he wants to take a third base here or here, his units have to come through here. So what do? You control this space. Tanks and Vikings, like here, or Vikings here or here out of the bunker range. And like you said, keep leapfrogging it. You've got your bio just around your tanks to prevent him from dropping on your tanks. And that's it. That's how you close it out. Any other questions? Whoops. All right, I'm going to head out of the replay now. I'm going to see if I can find a good TVT of mine. Like I said, it's my worst matchup. I've been improving in it, but it is still statistically my worst. But I'll see if I can find a good TVT where I demonstrate these points. I think you answered all of them. If I have more, I'll just watch one. Awesome. Great. I'm really glad to hear it, man. Glad to help. Let me see if I can quickly find one. If I can't, then I'll just have to do it another day. But if I can find a good macro TVT. Problem, I don't remember if I won these or not. Let's see. I mean, not that it really matters, because I can show what my opponent did to me, and that's just as effective. Hopefully we can find a good one here. Oh, this is where I beat the GM, and this is a long game. This one ended in a base trade. So this is, not a normal way to end the game. In fact, you may have even been on the stream when I played this game, if I recall correctly. Actually, final question. In what order did I get 4th and 5th racks and 3rd CC? That depends on what you want to accomplish. If you go 4th and 5th racks, so let me say this. Everything that you do is in relation to what your opponent does. It doesn't mean you have to react, but you have to keep in mind your objectives will slightly change depending on what your opponent does. So, to clarify that, if you get a 4th and 5th racks before your 3rd CC, and your opponent already got his 3rd CC prior to his 4th and 5th racks, you should be the aggressor, because what that means is his economy is bigger than yours. His economy was in place before yours. Your three base economy was in place before yours, so you should attack. Now, if you're on 3 racks and you get a third CC, and your opponent is on, let's say, 5 racks, doesn't have a third CC yet, then throw your third CC down, but realize you're probably gonna have to defend, get your economy established, and then push out. He'll have to attack you, otherwise your numbers will be superior. Let me see. Let me reread the question, because hopefully I answered that well. In what order do I get 4th, 5th? Yeah, okay. I think I did, but if I wasn't clear on anything, just ask. It's a bit complex because, like I said, what you can get 4th and 5th racks and then 3rd CC, or you can get 3rd CC and then 4th and 5th racks. Either is viable, but it depends what your style is and what you want to accomplish. If you want to be really aggressive, if that's your style, I would say get your 4th and 5th racks before your 3rd CC every single game, and that's fine. You just have to be aggressive, that's all. If you like to go for one front pushes, you like to macro up and then attack your opponent when you're already established, then get your 3rd CC and then your 4th and 5th racks in every single game, and you'll be fine. Like I said, it's just what your style is, how you like to play it, and then when you're executing your build, like I said before, you have to find out what your opponent's doing. All right, we're gonna fast forward a little bit here. I mostly want to look at mid game so I can show some tactics. I will almost never expand on the high ground. I hate that. It's really passive. Sometimes you have to, but I try to avoid it. Let's see. Yeah, my pleasure, man. I'm glad I can help. I mean, you watch the stream enough, you'll see me get help a lot of the times too. When Gamer Richie's on, it gives me a lot of help. Alright, I'm not too interested in the early game here. Like I said, I kind of want to get to the mid game to show tactics. Pretty even there as far as trading. His scan goes down, he wants to see my economic position, because his units actually never got in here to see my base, so he didn't know if he was going to be facing 1 base pressure or not. Alright, he's actually getting his 3rd base now. It's a really, really fast 3rd base, and you can get away with it. That's fine. In fact, what he's doing is actually really good. Tactically speaking, he's going to come out, try to be annoying, and get his 3rd base up behind. He wants me to just kind of sit back in a shell. Alright, I'm going to point out a few things right now. Alright, so if you look, 1 Marine is going over here to this attack path. This Marine is going up here to the central attack path. And I forget which unit it was, but one of my units went over here and saw his units coming in. So that's how I knew the attack was coming. So this is what I was telling you about before. Lock down the attack paths. Find out what's coming through. Find out what you're up against. My scouting information isn't great right now. So I definitely want to get more information. Very nearly lost this in the opening. Very, very nearly lost it. Take a look at my infrastructure, by the way. You look what I'm doing here. I am going up to 5 racks off of 2 bases. I don't yet know what my opponent's situation is, so I'm not in great shape. But I've got 5 racks, and I'm going up against a fast 3rd command center. So in this game, I would absolutely have to be aggressive. But so this kind of goes back to what we were talking about, though. 5 racks, 2 bases. I need to get something done, or I'm screwed. Siege tank saves the day for me. By the way, siege tanks are really good against cyclones, and obviously great against bio. He needs to be more careful about running his cyclones in when I have siege tanks out. Siege tanks will destroy them. He's floating his 3rd base over, getting his additional racks now. So, by the way, I should point out that he has executed this really, really well. What I mean by that is he took a really greedy third base, and with this attack, he has forced me to be in my base the whole time, which is the last thing that I want. I need to get out on the map. I'm not even mining from my natural. So not only is he mining fully from his natural, he's also about to start mining from his third. Now, his mistake, which we'll see here in a bit, is that he is over aggressive with these, but he has accomplished his objective. He has kept me at home, and he has created an advantage in this third base. So yeah, like I said, that's where he is over aggressive. You really don't want to lose these units, especially when you're at a compositional deficit, let's say, because my siege tanks will kill these. By the way, what I'm doing here, this is actually really important. Is it fine if he's floating? No, that's not fine. No, that's actually really, really bad, to be honest. Yeah, this is, he's a Grandmaster Protoss player. If I recall correctly, his Terran was Master 2. Not positive. Yeah, I think it was like 4.8k or something. Anyway, so he was Master 2 with Terran, Grandmaster with Protoss. But yeah, this is not good. You absolutely have to be, you have to spend that. Now, with that being said, he's getting 3 reactors here. Once these reactors are up, he's going to spend a lot. Hey, Miko, how are you doing? Yeah, he hasn't been able to spend while these reactors were being made. So that's part of the problem. But all right, so I want to point something out. He has me contained. I'm about to bust out of it. You've got to be careful though. If he catches these tanks unsieged, he can win the battle. So I've got to leapfrog them down. But so that's how I'm going to bust out of the contained. But anyway, while I'm being contained, you've probably heard me say this before. Anytime you're contained, regardless of what the matchup is, if you can, you always want to send out some sort of raiding party or harassment or drop. Let's see, what do you do when you're floating that much? Throw down additional racks or more CCs. It depends what your current infrastructure is. You want to get to what you want to get to the infrastructure that you desire. You don't want anything to be like incidental, is what I'm saying. You don't want to just throw down CCs for the hell of it. Um, and you don't want to like make too many racks, for example. Honestly, you don't want to be in that position. But once these are up, the spending will should improve a lot. Struggling with toss on ladder. Struggling playing against toss or playing as toss. But if it's playing against toss, yeah, it's pretty damn tough. 5-minute push with tank, marine, and banshee against Protoss. Yeah, that's pretty damn powerful actually. All right. So by the way, so take some notes. You notice where I sent the drop, right? I didn't know the third base was here. I needed to find out about the third base. That's why I sent it here. So I send it to the third to ascertain his economic position. Oh, you have a third base on location already. And in fact, I see his SCVs transferring there. So that also gives me an idea as to what the timing was. So number one, lets me know what his economic position is, and maybe I can even get some damage done. Number two, it also alleviates pressure from the containment. As you can see, he's bringing everything home, and now I'm going to be able to bust out and finally retake my natural. Oh yes, dude, Sky Toss is freaking brutal. There's nobody has an answer to Sky Toss. Both Terran answer. It's one of those don't kill them before they get their compositions, unfortunately. And I have these Marauders, by the way, because of his high Cyclone count. Generally speaking, as I was saying before, you don't want Marauders in Bio versus Bio. But okay, also take a look at what I'm doing now. You're about to see it. I'm posturing to attack his third because I know that economically he's ahead of me. If I don't attack and do damage, I'm going to be behind. So I'm talking you through all of my decisions so that you like realize how important this like third base versus third base situation is. So I'm on 5 racks, still haven't even started a third base. I know his third base is on location. So I absolutely have to attack him. He scans me, like this is where the mind games come into play. I don't want him to see me move out. So I'm chilling here. He's scanning me. I'm not going to move, not going to move, not going to move. Scan is over. Now I'm gonna move. So, like I said, this is where this, you know, little higher level mind games, but you see what I'm trying to accomplish. I absolutely must attack this, and he's setting up to try to push in at my third. In fact, he thinks I have a third, scans, sees no third. Now he realizes I'm attacking him here. But so when he saw no third here, he scanned ahead to see tanks. By the way, check this out. Take some notes. You see what I'm doing defensively. I've got my tanks set up. I've got my other units rallied at home, and I'm executing my attack at his third base. So like these are the tactics that I was talking about before in your games. Set up your tanks defensively, rally your units at home, execute your attack. And in this case, I elected to go for the third base because I think it's the easiest point to attack on this map. The only other option would be a Doom drop into the main. I'm just not really a Doom drop type player. I don't like executing Doom drops. Anyway, moment toss 5.4 MMR with mech. Oh damn, man, that's a that is a really good win. I will say it's hard as hell to play mech against Protoss. I will say that. Not that it's easy to play bio, yeah, because it's not, but it's really hard to play mech against Protoss. Scanning ahead, trying to catch him on siege. That was probably a bit over aggressive here. I don't know, it's close. Okay, he brought his army. But anyway, like I said, the whole point that I'm trying to show here, take some notes, is the tactical execution. I killed his third base. I'm getting my third base behind it, so I know I'm ahead now. I believe I saw him remaking that. Yeah, so I did see him remaking this, but I know that I'm ahead right now in game because I killed it. I think I killed a bunch of SCVs. Yeah, I killed a bunch of SCVs, and now I'm going to take my third. In fact, that's what he's scanning for here. This is actually really interesting because you can see that my opponent has the same things in his mind that I have in my mind. Like widely scan here and scan here. He needs to know what my economic position is. If he sees an orbital command here or here with full saturation, well, number one, he's going to go to that location and attack it. He has to. He's also going to realize he's probably screwed. So in seeing that there's no third base here and no third base here, he knows he at least has a chance because I wasn't mining from a third base the entire time that I was attacking him. So again, it's all about getting that information. What is your third base situation? Where do I stand compared to you? Sensor tower, by the way, this is everything I was talking about before. Take some notes. Sensor tower here. Sensor tower here. I'm set up defensively, and oh look, by the way, the sensor tower already comes in handy right here. The sensor tower let me know that he was coming in to attack, so it was like perfect. And at the same time, just being annoying over here. And now we set up the siege at the third. Looks like I'm a little bit over eager because he has superior medevac count. Be a tiny bit over eager there, but it ultimately ended up working. And now we start leapfrogging the tanks. So again, I know I'm mining from my third base. He's not mining from his third base. I know I'm ahead. Storm is really freaking strong, and we continue to leapfrog. So just trying to highlight the tactics here. You know, this in this case, we're not talking so much about the build or anything like that, just tactics and how to close out a game. Like I said this before, this one ends up in a base trade, which is not what you want when you're ahead. When you're behind, you want to try to force a base trade, and my opponent was able to do that. Bio protecting the tanks. Getting my Vikings to improve the quality of my tanks. Vikings out front, but not losing them to the Marines. He has just enough to push them. Really close game. just barely had enough to get out there. I am ahead 11 workers though, which is a big deal. And again, by the way, like look how often I'm attacking his third base, and not just that, but every time that he came in to attack me, it was always coming in through where he thought my third base was. I just really want to emphasize how important that is. Is it a mistake for him going Marauders? Yeah, that's not. It's not good. Like I was saying before, this is not his main race. He's a Grandmaster Protoss. His Terran is Master 2. But yeah, these Marauders are just they're not good against Bio. It would be better to have more Marines. And actually, no, this is after the Marauder unnerfing or buff. So these are the good Marauders. This was just played last week. Yeah, this was after the Marauder buff. This wasn't even a full week ago, if I'm not mistaken. This is another annoying tactic, something you can mix in, but it's not committal at all. Small group of Marines coming through a reinforcement path and trying to get some more SCVs. Again, he's coming in toward what he thinks is my third base. In fact, I don't even think he's seen that. Okay, he actually has seen that now. So it looks like he wanted to lock down this position here. Let's see. I need to highlight this for you. Take some notes, because this is everything that that we were discussing. Vikings out in front. That's going to give my tanks an advantage over his tanks. I notice his bio is away from his tank line, so I'm going to drop on his tanks. So again, tactics. And my bio is just waiting. If he wants to try to drop on mine, my bio will come in and kill it. That's right. Jiggy's actually really good at positioning as well. So here we go. Got one tank, maybe even two. Two tanks. This was probably a bit over eager. Looking at it now, yeah, so I end up pulling back. But he just can't do anything. With my Vikings here, he can't do anything. Now I'm just going to leapfrog forward. That was a little bit too much, so that sucks for me. He needed a scan for it, though. So he had to use a scan. I'm using Vikings. Once the scan ends, I'm going to try to push forward again. And once again here. So even though he doesn't have a powerful containment on me, this is the same scenario that I was just talking about. If you're contained, or if there's any type of like stalemate position here, always go around. You need air control with TBT. Yes, indeed. Yes, you do. It's very important. So again, just going to creep these forward. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Take some notes. My tank is shooting his. His is not shooting mine because these tanks stretch the range. I'm sorry, these Vikings stretch the range of the tanks. The vision elongates the range for them. So I'm just trying to highlight all of the tactics that we have been discussing. Fast forward a little more. I was very pleasantly surprised to see nothing there. In fact, even got lucky in picking this off. But again, like, it's luck, but it's also luck that you kind of prepared for by being in that position, because I know he has to take this base, right? I happened to be lucky in that he was floating it over at that exact second. So I think this was pretty well played on my part. Unfortunately, though, he ends up getting this base trade. It works out. I got the win, but I would have liked to have closed it out more cleanly. And here's the base trade right here. So this sucks for me. Base trade begins now. He's attacking this way. I know I'm ahead. I know my army is superior. I don't recall if I actually had better upgrades or not. But I could have made the decision to bring everything over here to try to defend or continue with the base trade. In this case, I elected to continue with the base trade because it's really, if he gets siege tanks, for example, let's say for whatever, like, so right now he's clearing these rocks, but let's say he pokes in here and gets siege tanks here, here, here. and I have to run up a ramp into siege tanks, um, that can be one way that I can throw the game. So I probably could have run over here and defended my third and avoided the base trade, but it wasn't clear to me in the game. So I just proceeded with the base trade, even though that it's not what I want. And by the way, the sensor tower, again, pointing out the importance of sensor towers. Sensor towers would let me lift this up and evacuate. And now we've got the base trade. Slow it down. This was actually a pretty sick game. Clears out my base. I'm about to clear out his base. Army supply is almost dead even. Oh, and there are the upgrades. Actually, we're even in bio upgrades. He has +1 attack on his tanks. I have no upgrades for my mech units. I have Vikings and he doesn't, so that's a really, really nice advantage in these scenarios. Pause it, take a look at units. I have 8 tanks to 4, which is a gigantic advantage that cannot be overstated. So not only do I have tanks, I've got the Vikings to make my tanks even better. Slow it down a little bit. Spreading out. Splash damage. Getting a drop. There's 1 tank there. And yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the end now. So I don't know. Any other questions? Take some notes before I head out. I've got to go to the gym. I'm gonna try to stream later, guys. By the way, I know for you European guys, it'll probably be pretty late, probably too late for you. But I've got to go to the gym, and when I get back from the gym, I'd like to get another stream session in, if possible. But yeah, before I go, if you have any other questions, take some notes. Let me know. Better not be at 5. It probably will be at 5 your time, man. Probably will be. It'll be late. If I'm able to stream again tonight, it'll be late. Yeah, probably not 7 hours from now. If I'm able to stream again, it would probably be about 5 or 6 hours from now. Otherwise, I will see you guys tomorrow. I'd like to get in a longer stream session tomorrow. This one was actually kind of long, but didn't ladder too much. Only got a few. I think so. Learned a lot. Thanks, man. I'm really glad to help out in any way I can. So, just keep this stuff in mind and put it to use in your ladder games. And I'm positive that you're going to start picking up a lot of wins. Because like I said before, you're already doing some of the more complex aspects of the game. You're already executing those really well. Usually takes me a while to learn new things and implement new tactics. Yeah, that's pretty common. So, like for me with specifically TVT tactics, took me forever to learn them, and I'm still not very good at them. Like I still have to improve a lot. Patience is actually really important in TVT, even in bio versus bio. You cannot get over eager when tanks are involved. But yeah, the first step is knowing, and then of course executing afterward. But I'm confident that you're going to see some real leaps in your gameplay because of how well you execute the more complex aspects, such as like hitting things on time. Most people screw that up. Yeah, for sure. It's a good point, Jiggy. You want to keep, you want to be conscious of your objectives in game 2. And I know that sounds like really reductive, or obviously you want to be conscious, but a lot of people tend to play by rote. They just, play only from muscle memory. Did Jiggy's game? What's up, Fatira? Yeah, I did end a while ago. But muscle memory is, that's good. It's important, but I think a lot of people get into the rut of playing purely from muscle memory and abandoning like their conscious decision making and thinking in the game, okay, what do I need to do? Or what do I want to accomplish right now? And you just kind of tend to go through the same patterns that you've established. Go to college and I work part time, so I watch a lot of streams on YouTube. So that's yeah, man. I was the same way. I've never been like a really dedicated ladder player. You know, I get games in consistently, but I'm not one of those people who just grinds out ladder game after ladder game after ladder game. I like to analyze, I like to know, and then execute. So 12 credits and not full-time college. That's still, that's still pretty hefty. What is that? Four courses? But all right, guys, I've got to get to the gym now. Uh, almost definitely going to be streaming later tonight. If not, though, um, like I said, I will definitely be streaming tomorrow. But the only times I have heavy ladder sessions, Jiggy, are when I'm tilting. That's like the only time that I ladder a ton is when I'm tilting. I never like win, or like have a day where I win like 75% of my games and I played a ton of them. It never happens. I only ladder hard when I'm tilting. So, all right, guys. Hopefully we'll see you later tonight. Otherwise, I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for watching, and GG's.